So today we're going to talk about my favorite brush in the whole world, the ClingOn brushes. And I know there's a lot, if you've been painting at all, you've probably heard about them. Maybe you've tried them, maybe you haven't. And if you're like me, I assumed that they were really overrated and couldn't possibly live up to the hype. And I avoided trying them for quite a while. And then I got one for my birthday, Christmas, and it was amazing. So I actually got this one over a year ago, almost a year ago, and I love it. It's so good. We use it all the time. We found that Dan and I were like literally fighting over it, like who got to use it while we were painting in the shop. So we ended up becoming a retailer because we love them so much. And I want to tell you all about them because we get a lot of questions, and I know everyone who tries them really, really likes them, and you just need to experience it and then you're going to love them too. So today we're going to talk about the features of the ClingOn brushes, what makes them so special. We're going to talk about the styles because there's a whole bunch. I think there's 17 if I remember correctly. And then we're going to talk about how you care for them because that's always a big question mark. They are a little bit different than your traditional paintbrush, but it's worth it. And I'll show you a really easy, quick trick so that you can maintain your brush as well. And then I'll actually give you a demo. So I'm going to show you a little sample of me painting with my old brush and something that I used to think was fantastic, and then using a ClingOn brush, and you'll be able to see immediately how the paint handles differently, and then it also dries quite differently too. So ClingOn brushes are amazing. They are a synthetic bristle, so that means that they're made out of DuPont filaments, and DuPont is a really well-respected furniture painting or just paint brand conglomerate. So very well made, high quality materials. They are then encased in epoxy, and then the stainless steel ferrule, which is this part right here, it's called a ferrule, is stainless steel, and that's great. And then we have a beechwood handle. So it's all solid, it's all encased in that epoxy, so you will not lose bristles, ever. They don't come out. So that can be a struggle with other paintbrushes as you're painting. Maybe you find a stray bristle, maybe you find half a bristle. It can be really frustrating. It can really impact your finish if you don't recognize that or know to check for it. So whenever you're painting, always be looking to see, if there are any runs, any stray bristles, whatever. So that's what they're made out of. They're synthetic, which is also interesting if you are very conscious of the products that you're using. A lot of paintbrushes are made out of ox hair, so that is literally from a pig. So if you, not ox, the pig, boar. So if you are conscious about that, that might be another reason to try a synthetic bristle brush. So keep that in mind. And they're amazing. So as far as the sizes of them, and please let me know if you have any questions. I'm Kelly with Captiva Home, and we're talking all about ClingOns today. And I can see some of your questions, and then I will be able to answer them forever. If you're watching on the replay, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and I'll be able to see those comments too. So feel free to type them in, and then I will help you as much as I can. So synthetic, amazing. One of the good things about it is it's also a little bit tapered. So down on, where are we gonna be today? Over here, you can see how it's a little bit lighter on the ends, and those are tapered and a little bit fluffy, so it really allows you to brush it on really nice. And then the paint just kind of flows off of them. So they're also used and stored wet. So keep that in mind because that's very important. You want to be painting with a damp ClingOn brush, and that's very easy to do. You can either paint with a little bit of water nearby, or I like to keep a spray bottle and I'll kind of spritz the brush or spritz the piece, whatever. So keep that in mind. And then as far as the sizes, there are so many. So we have rounds, ovals, flat brushes, angled brushes, and of course, the shorty. So this is the most popular brush ever. They're very hard to get, and we have a bunch. So if you want, we have a couple of them. So they are available right now if you want to order them. But these are amazing because they have the short handle and a really great head. and it combines the best of everything. So I love that one. We also have the rounds. So this is a round small brush. This is called an R12. So there's also one that is smaller, and then we have a medium, large, and extra large. And the extra large is about 1.5 inches diameter. So that's going to give you a lot of different ranges to find something that's very comfortable in your hand and also something that is appropriate to the job that you're doing. So if you are painting a large flat piece, you should use a large flat brush. If you are using like painting little details or a small piece, then a small brush like this would be most appropriate. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to figure out like a couple brushes to order, I usually like to go with one like larger flat or larger oval and then like a small round. So you can kind of mix and match and use them as appropriate for your furniture painting project. So we have 5 different kinds of round brushes, and then we have 3 different ovals. So the oval is a little bit different because instead of being round, it's an oval. And this is it right here. This is an 040. So this is very, very popular. And one of the reasons is because with the oval, it allows you to paint kind of a broad stroke. These are soaked. And then you can also get into the details with the rounded parts. So you kind of have the best of both worlds when you go with an oval. And it might be more comfortable in your hand, it might not be. So keep in mind there's also personal preference. So like my favorite brushes are the flat brushes, but other people might like the ovals. I know cabinet painters tend to like these a lot. And then just if you're doing a lot of larger pieces, maybe bureaus or things like that, this could be a really great option. So this is the 040. So this is actually the medium, and then there are also oval 35s, which are smaller, and then one that's bigger. So 3 of the ovals, and then we have my favorites, the flats. So this is the F40. This is what I started with. This is what I love. This is a medium size. So we also have the F30, which is a little bit smaller. And then we used to have a whole bunch of the 50s, which is a larger 2-inch brush, but we're out of those. So these are really great. I think they're perfect, but that's my preference. I love a flat brush. So it's very much like a traditional paintbrush. It does not have the strings on the bristles. So, I can talk about that. But on the round ones and the ovals, you see these strings right here? These are actually wound around the base of the bristles, and they are supposed to stay there. So don't cut them off. A lot of people do that by accident, and they are used to maintain the shape. So if you do happen to cut them off, you might want to try wrapping something around it. That might help it keep its shape better, because these brushes really do keep their shape. They maintain well. I told you I've been using this for almost a year every single day, and look how great it still looks. And like, I don't really take that great a care of my brushes. These are some old ones that I was going to compare to. So this is what typically my brushes will look like after a little while, and then this is after a year with this one. It looks fantastic. So I'll show you how they perform too. We're going to do a demo at the end. I know a bunch of people just jumped on, so thank you. I'm Kelly with Captiva Home, and we're talking about ClingOn brushes today because we just got a huge shipment and we're pumped about it and so excited to share them with you because they really, really are as good as everyone talks about. So I encourage you to give it a shot and see what you think about them, because I was way impressed and I didn't expect to be. So we're just talking about the flats. So F30 is the smallest, that's about 1 inch, pretty standard. And then we have the F40 is about 1.5 inches. And then the F50 is about a 2-inch brush. So that's a really nice brush if you're going to be using top coats or painting large surfaces. Remember, you want to use a brush that's appropriate to whatever you're doing. So large flat piece, large flat brush. Little piece, little brush. And then, oh, these ones are kind of weird. So these are the angled brushes. And until you use it, you probably think they're a little bit funny. But then you realize how handy they are. So this is really ideal. It's bent. I don't know if you can really see that. Yeah, you can. So it has a bent head. So you can get into those odd spaces. So sometimes you're painting something like the inside of a secretary desk, and they have these tiny little cubbies, and it's really hard to get into with anything. These are nice because you can kind of sneak in a little bit. and hit those angles, and then continue with the rest of your piece using your regular brush. I don't recommend painting an entire piece with this because it's just kind of weird, but they are super handy. I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to use it for, and then I ran into a piece, I don't know if you guys remember that green table, but it had this odd place where everything kind of came together right in the middle, and I couldn't get in there. So then I grabbed one of these, and it really made it a lot easier. So that, for me, that really drove home the point that they're great. I like them. They are cool, and they're also quite affordable. So they're a really great tool just to add to your toolbox. And then when you need them, they're there. So last but not least, we have the Shorty. So this is the most popular brush by ClingOn, possibly by everybody. Everybody loves these because they are really amazing. We have approximately a 2-inch head, so it is quite easy to use. It's really great for your flats. It also has that short handle, so you don't end up hitting anything and you can get into those smaller spaces better. It's really comfortable. It also has a bit of an oval, so I don't know if you can see that. Not really. There's a couple pictures on our website that are much better. But it is a nearly flat head and then has a little bit of oval at the end. So it makes it really handy. They're very easy to hold. They're very easy to use. They store a lot of paint. They work really well. They are weighted, so that's why you have this bigger bump at the end. All of these brushes are weighted very nicely. So that means you're gonna be able to paint for longer without your hand kind of getting tired. Or you notice sometimes like maybe your shoulder starts aching, or if you have any trouble with your anything, you know, it can be a little bit challenging after you're painting for a while. So these are weighted so that it feels a little nicer. I notice a difference. And that is it for our brushes. So we talked about the features of them. They're incredible. They allow you to get a really smooth finish. They're used wet with any water-based products. So you can use them with your milk paints or chalk paints or high-performance top coat. Anything that's water-based would be appropriate for a ClingOn brush. Do not use them in oil-based. That's not what they're made for. So keep that in mind. And then they really allow you to get a much smoother finish than anything else I've ever used. So especially when you couple it with the General Finishes milk paint, which is naturally self-leveling, and then you put it on with a brush that's gonna help you level even more, you can get like almost a sprayed finish with your brush. And that's really impressive and really hard and makes your life a lot easier if you're going for that smooth finish to have a brush and a paint that work together to help you create that. So we really, really, really like these. That's the reason that we decided to pick them up. We weren't really intending to sell brushes, but once we started, we love them. So those are the brushes. And now I'm gonna show you what I used to do. So I'm a traditional painter. I've been painting since 1999, I just realized. And I always used either Worcester or Purdy brushes. I thought they were great, I thought they were the best. These are a bunch of my old brushes. I just kind of grabbed them. They are very traditional brushes. I like 1.5 inch angle, you can see that. But one of the struggles with them is that over time, they get very hard. You find that their bristles start spraying out, so you can see that. And then they don't bend and flex the way they should. They are harder to use. They have all this paint that's caked up in the ferrule there. So that's what happens with traditional brushes. And usually, I mean, that's just kind of part of the game. You care for them well, and then you get a amount of time out of them, and then maybe you get rid of them. So that's where I was at, and I thought that was fine, not a problem. These are actually my old brushes. And then I found the ClingOn brushes. And like I said, this is over almost a year into it, and it looks phenomenal still. And I'm not like doing anything super fancy to take care of it. Oh, in the water. That's what I want to tell you first. So all we do to clean them, like we said, they are used and stored wet. So there's a few different ways you can go about it. You want to keep their feet wet. So when you get them, you want to allow them to get wet. So run them under the faucet, stick them in a cup for a little while, and then just wring them out. You can roll it between your fingers, and that will spray out a lot of the water. And then just keep water nearby to help you level out. So if you notice it's starting to drag or it's not handling the way it should, you just dunk it in a little water or spritz it, and then that will reactivate it, because these bristles actually kind of soak up the water and then allow it to filter out. So that helps your paint to level. That's why they're water-based only, because you're using water to do everything with them. And then when you're done, you can clean them normally. Some people just pop them into their water cup and just let it do it naturally. So it will suck up some water and then pull it out, and then you'll notice like a painty sludge at the bottom of your cup. And that is your paint remnants. But what I like to do is just wash it out very easily under some running water, let it loosen up the paint. It'll start running out very quickly. And then I store them in this handy little trough. So we made this. You can also get the ClingOn brush holder. So all it is metal, and then we attach the magnets, and now you can see that brush is just hanging there. Little magnets, and then it sticks onto the brush. And then that suspends it. You want to have the water coming up about halfway of the bristles of your brush, because that's going to suck up the water and filter it back out. It's just going to continually do that. So it's self-cleaning to an extent, but I always recommend washing out the majority of your paint. So what that does is it keeps the paint from getting stuck up in the ferrule like your normal paintbrush. So that's what happens with these. They get stuck up there, and then it becomes hard and sticky, and it ruins your brush and sprays it out. But when you have the water filtering up, it's going to continually pull out those little bits of paint that might otherwise get stuck in your ferrule. So that's why it's important to not only clean it not very well, but clean it when you're done using it for the day, but also allow it to keep continually cleaning itself by sticking it in water. And if if that setup's a little much for you, I was thinking about it, and like the easiest way to do it is like this. So all this is a coffee cup, and then I stuck the brush through the straw. So this is a great way to repurpose what's otherwise trash. And then it's cheap, it's easy, anybody can do this. All it is a plastic cup, and then allow your brush to be suspended. So you can see that? So the water's about halfway. And then this will just be where this brush lives until I'm ready to use it again. So you can see, just stuck in the top. Very easy. Repurpose, recycle. It's a good way to do it, cheap and easy. So you could allow your brush to sit like this forever. It's going to continue to clean. But if you're not going to be using it for a while, months, then you could just allow your brush to self-clean for a few days, maybe a week, and then take it out and let it dry. But when you let it dry, you're going to want to protect your bristles. Do not stick it in something with the bristles down. You would always want it in a cup like this. You can see that? So you always want to stick the bristles up, because if these get smushed down in any way, even in the water, they could impact their shape. And that's with any brush. You'll notice that sometimes the bristles, if you have them smushed somewhere, they stay like that. So if you're going to let it dry, make sure that you maybe wrap it with like a paper towel or a rag, and then put it somewhere safe. And that's going to keep your brush in good condition. The best way to do it is to let it be in the water, but I understand that's kind of weird sometimes. So that's how you care for your brushes. If you have any questions, please let me know. I can't read them because I got a new smaller phone, but I'll get back to you in a little while and I will answer all those. So now that we've talked about the features, the sizes, the care, we are going to do a little demo. So I want to show you how my phenomenal ClingOn brushes perform against what I used to think was an awesome brush. So these are, like I said, my old brushes. They all look kind of nasty, but they work fine. So this one is one that I used to use, and while the bristles are all sprayed out, I don't know if you can really even see that, they're all stuck out. It still is very soft. There's no paint. Oh no, I was gonna use a new one. That's what I was gonna do. So this is a new one. So this is a Purdy, 1-inch angled brush, very standard. So I want to show you how that paints, and then I'm going to show you the ClingOn. So we'll put that there. And we're gonna be using, of course, General Finishes milk paint. And this is patina green. So I don't know if you guys have seen this much yet, but I just shared a picture of a piece that we did. It's really bright, really fun. So I thought you'd be able to see that. So with these standard brushes, you can either use a damp, which I would always do anyway, so I'm gonna do that. Or you can use it dry. Load up your brush. And I just have a tiny bit of paint in there. It's just what was left over from what I was doing. And we'll paint. And this looks pretty standard, but then I'm going to show you how it handles when we use a ClingOn brush. Notice I'm already loading my paint again. Because I used to love these. I thought they were great. I always have. I've always liked Worcester brushes. And when you're painting, your brushes are really, really important. Painting is all about getting a nice finish. And to do that, you need to prep right, and then you also need to use the right tools. And the right brush is gonna save you a lot of time and frustration and allow you to get much better results. So I just loaded this 4 times, I think, to cover this so far. And I doubt that the ClingOn will take that much. Okay, so now we can go do the sides. This really looks pretty vibrant, huh? I just shared a piece of a small little nightstand that we did in this color, and it came out really cute. It's for a little girl, and I think she'll love it. But now I kind of like the color too. So the ClingOns, when you're using them wet with your water-based paint, it allows the paint to kind of come off a little smoother and extends your paint. So you also get better coverage. So that's another reason. You might be able to save time and money on paint by using the right kind of brush. So I'm not gonna paint my fingers there. But you can see that worked out pretty well. And then now I'm going to show you same paint. I'm gonna grab my favorite brush. So I'll be using the 040 for this, not 040, F40. And we'll see how it handles, because I think you'll notice a difference. So I just loaded once. You can probably already tell, this is going a lot faster. So these ClingOns save you time, money, paint. They're easy to use. I mean, I honestly, I can't say enough good things about them. They're amazing. So that interior, I just covered in one dip. I loaded my paint 4 times with the other brush to get in there, and I'm not picking up any more than I was before. So now we'll just do the edges. Maybe I should have timed this. So that was 2 loads of the paintbrush. Very quick, very easy. The coverage, you probably can't tell, but the coverage is better, and that's it. So I'm already done. Looks the same from there, but coverage is nicer here. And it also, so it will level better with the water. I did get messy this time, if anyone's keeping track. But you can see how quickly and easily I was able to do the piece with the ClingOn versus what used to be my favorite brush before. So that was just a very quick demo because it took me less paint, less loading of the brush, which means grabbing more paint, and then I was able to work a lot faster and use a lot less paint. And that's huge when you are talking about doing large projects or having a furniture painting business. You want the best tools for the job, and I honestly 100% believe these ClingOn brushes, they'll make a big difference. So I suggest trying one. That's what I did. And then see what you think. So I can't think of anyone who's tried it and then hasn't liked it. So give it a shot. But that's all I want to tell you about today. I think we're right at half an hour. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful. I hope that you are considering trying one. If you have any questions, please let me know. These are all available on our website. We received them yesterday and they're going very, very quickly. So if you have any thoughts of getting one, I would not delay. And then, because we don't know when they'll come back again. They're difficult to get. So thank you. My name is Kelly with Captiva Home. Please feel free to share this with your friends. That always helps us. If you share any of our stuff, we really, really like that. It helps every small business grow, especially when you are trying to be an online business. So thank you. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon.